It's so funny because it's amazing how the universe works. And I mean, I can just share a story right out of the gate.
Do it.
As you know, I shared with you that I had a little heart scare, right? I had to go to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I OD'd on some fat burners accidentally, right? I mean, I didn't do it on purpose. um, they were a
Yes.
tincture, and I forgot how much to take, and I just took like a half of a. It was too much.
Yeah.
Anyway, because of that heart scare, that led me to be very, very aware and monitor my heart rate after I got out of the hospital. I was in there for like a night. And that's when the whole being aware of my heart rate, and when I was every time I have a dip, put a dip in, my heart rate would go up.
Yeah.
So that's what led me to wanting to quit dipping. And so I was chewing a lot of gum. So number one, it's having that little accident allowed me to have more awareness around my heart. And I've been to the doctor, but I am going to a cardiologist to get my heart checked out just to make sure everything's good. So that was a nice lesson and a nice little gift from the universe. And then from there, I'm like, okay, well, I've been dipping for 25 years. Maybe it's time to quit. And I started chewing gum. And from chewing so much gum, I hammered out one of my crowns that I had,
Oh.
and it started to get. I had a root canal in there when I had that crown done too, like 7 years ago.
I remember that.
So, I started to get it started to get sore. So I went to the dentist, and the dentist is like, "Yeah, we got to get this thing out because it doesn't look like your root canal was done properly, and it's getting infected and yada yada." So they did the surgery to yank it out, and like, dude, I felt so violated, dude. He was just, oh god, dude. Even though I was numbed, he was just yanking on me. And then when he finally got it out and he was scraping the bone, he's like, I got to get all this infection off of there. And I'm like, oh god, yeah, it was. So, point is that it's amazing how it led to my whole ODing on fat burners led to my awareness around my heart health, and then eventually getting this tooth extracted, because there's a lot of studies and a lot of info out there about root canals and about infections from teeth and
You can
how
die.
they can actually poison your body. Yeah.
Heart
And
attacks.
it's so weird. I mean, it might be too much information for people, but
No, go for it.
the last 2 weeks, I've been so gassy, dude. Like, yeah. And,
All right.
I hadn't changed my diet, and I'm like, why am I so gassy? What the fuck is going on? And you know what? I really think that it had to do with this root canal, because Anna, she did some research, and she showed me a photo of a typical person's teeth layout, and the organs in your body that are affected by each teeth. And sure enough, the one that I had an issue with was connected to the stomach. So,
Fantastic.
like, I gotta wonder, because that crown that I had done, which was covering the root canal, it always just kind of felt weird. It never felt right. It would kind of be sore for a little bit. It would go away. So I'm thinking, like, over the 7 years that I've had it, I'm curious as to how much that's actually affected my health. So
Well, isn't the gastro stuff, the stomach stuff, like they say it's one of the most important things for you to be like, taking probiotics and shit like that, right? Because gut
sure,
health.
sure.
Gut health.
Yeah. Gut health is like your second brain, right? And I last year I hired a gut health lady and spent tons of money, like ridiculous, thousands of dollars on supplements and tests, and paying her, and
Yeah.
she did find a lot of issues, and I seem to have corrected them based on changes in my diet, based on probiotics, prebiotics, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, I honestly didn't feel a whole lot better.
So,
So maybe it was my tooth this whole time for years. I don't know.
how long
And you
has
know
it
what?
been since it's been extracted?
So it's been what 3 days now.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And so I'm not as gassy. I'm still a little gassy, but I'm not as gassy. So maybe that's a sign. So anyway,
Your body's equalizing out right now, dude.
yeah.
But so did you quit dipping? Did you experiment with that?
Okay. So well, I guess that's a matter of opinion, and that's all perspective, right?
Right.
You know that I have been anti pouch and anti snooze and everything for my entire dipping career, right? And I'm a long cut guy. I
Yeah.
do. So let me give you a little precursor before I answer that. Um, I was doing some experimenting. Okay, so I got a new iWatch and I was wearing my iWatch and it was pretty accurate which is pretty accurate with heart rate. And so I would experiment with different times of the day when I would put a dip in, and I would monitor my heart rate, and I would do it with a big hog of long cut. And then I was experimenting with um, pouches, like 3 grizzly pouches, and then 2 grizzly, and then down to 1 grizzly. And then I was monitoring my heart rate outside of when I was dipping, and I was monitoring my heart rate when I would dip normally all day, and then when I would go to the gym, if I would do say squats and then I would go do my cardio on the treadmill, how much time it would take for my heart rate to get to go back down
The
if I
baseline.
dip that day versus not dipping at all. I was experimenting, man, and dude, I'm telling you, it was a massive difference
Oh yeah.
with doing long cut. And it took a while. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to do long cut anymore. And then I was experimenting with pouches. And at the end of the day, I was like, okay, well, I'm done with long cut. That's for sure. Because, dude, my heart rate, one of the concerns that I had was because my heart rate would go randomly, whether I had a dip in or not. My heart rate, just standing at my computer, whatever, would go from, say, 70 beats per minute to like 95, like that.
That's not normal.
Yeah, and
That's not
that's
normal,
what
especially for someone like you who's active
yeah,
and in shape.
exactly, dude. So that's why I want to go to the cardiologist. Now, I did go to my regular doctor, and she said, look, there's people who are very healthy that come in here and they have a resting heart rate, a baseline of 90 beats per minute, and they are healthy as horses. I'm like, so she said, just because the society says that we should, the lower the heart rate, the better,
Yeah, the healthy
doesn't
one.
mean that that's the case. But I told her, I said, well, I'm concerned because it can just jump from 70 to 95 like that.
Yeah.
So I noticed that as I got off the long cut and as I got off the pouches, and maybe would do one pouch in the morning just so I can, because in the morning dookie is a little hard.
Yeah.
The morning dookie just doesn't quite show up the way it usually does without a little nicotine. And so I noticed that my heart rate now doesn't jump from 70 to 95 quite as extreme and quite as often.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I've been doing outlaw pouches. I ran out of pouches. I still have grizzly pouches in the fridge that every once in a while I'll put one of those in, especially in the morning if I need to go to the restroom. But for the most part, yeah, I've quit. I mean,
You've quit tobacco and you've quit nicotine, apparently. Especially if you're doing outlaw shit, right?
yeah, because dude, like the outlaw pouches, I found the Southern Sweet Tea and the watermelon actually. Those have been my favorites because I sampled everything. I'm out of them now. I have some fat cut left, but yeah, dude, like for the most part, I have quit. Like I said, I will put a grizzly pouch in once in a while. I
not
still
the
have them in
same.
the fridge, but dude, that just
I got these
bro.
grizzly dark pouches, dude, and I can't even like. I'll probably throw one in now, but the reason why, your heart, it's you're not getting direct contact with. You're not getting the same amount of nicotine and tobacco. This is like, I mean, if you were putting one pouch in, bro, you're literally just taking a baby of a pinch. And that's why you were noticing with pouches, it was substantially lower than
Yeah.
than a freaking fat cut. But okay, dude, because I'm with you. I mean, you've been dipping obviously a lot longer than I have, but I've been dipping since 2002, every day. But okay, how was it for you? Did you get the jitters? Because first off, your mind, I know your discipline is on point, but physically, like, did you feel? Were you getting headaches? Did you get the shakes? Or was it just that you just needed to put something in your lip?
Yeah, great question. Let me back up though.
Go for it.
See, so like if one of the main reason why I said, you know what, it's not worth it, I'm quitting, because I started to wonder and question, okay, I've been dipping for what, 25 years? How much has that affected, if any, I don't know, how much has, if my heart rate has gone from normal 70 to 95 or 100, dude, I put a dip in when I had nicotine out of my system for at least a week, no grizzly pouches, nothing. I put a long cut dip in because I had some here, and I put one in, dude, my heart rate went to 110. So my point is that I don't know what kind of damage have I done to my heart health that is not repairable over the 25 years that I've used nicotine, where my heart rate has gone up. I don't know, if any, but
I
I'm not
don't.
willing to risk it. I wasn't willing to like risk it. Well, fuck it, like, I mean, seeing my heart rate go up as much as it did from putting a dip in was enough for me to go, and being my age now, as old as I am, I'm like, okay, well, I got to take this shit serious.
Yeah.
And so, now as far as getting off of the Nick, dude, I had a small headache here and there when I got off of it. But remember, I didn't quit like completely cold turkey. I would do out because I was experimenting, right? So I was messing with different servings of dip and different times of the day, and less here, more here. And so I didn't really experience any withdrawals, anything. But I experienced was having that oral fixation and wanting to feel something in there and wanting to spit. You know what I mean? That's the one thing about the fat cut or the pouches that I wish you could spit more black with it.
Yeah.
But I still spit with Outlaw stuff. Even though there's no nicotine and no tobacco, the ones that I buy, I still spit with it because it's part of it for me.
Yeah.
But dude, I never really had any, like, me, man, when I make up my mind, I'm just gonna fucking do it,
Yeah.
So
I've been contemplating, I mean, not quitting, but going a week without it, just to learn to listen to my body. Like, I've been really in tune, bro. Like, this last, fuck, dude, that Michael Singer, you got me that book of his tell-all story about letting go, right? But recently, dude, I've listened to the audiobook of The Untethered Soul twice already. Like, at the gym, before I go to bed. And that book has really helped me. And that book just focuses on the voice in your head, right? Mm-hmm. So right now I'm very, he talks about, what is consciousness, right? Consciousness is just self-awareness. And self-awareness is your thoughts, your behaviors, and everything. And so every time my brain starts to talk, which it does all day long, you stand behind and you listen to it, right? So I'm like getting like literally like dissecting my brain right now and noticing whether or not, okay, how do you feel right now? Are you happy? Why aren't you happy? Are you calm? And every little trigger. Bro, a good practice is going on X and reading these stories, especially the last few days. And when something is just like, oh man, I want to fucking, like, whoa, hold on, where's that coming from? You know what I mean? So it's I don't know how he went from that, but honestly, it's again, it's one of those things. Like, if I were to quit dipping, how would I react? What kind of emotions? I know I'm addicted to dip. I just am. it's if I'm not eating, I'm dipping, dude. So, and that is scary in and of itself.
Yeah.
But why not?
Yeah.
Why not just try it? Why? Let's see what the fuck you're made of. And honestly, bro, like in the book, he's just like, if you've been smoking for, whatever, however many years, the easiest way, if you want to quit smoking, all you got to do is just one thing: is you don't put a cigarette in your mouth. That's it. Everything else is fucking bullshit. Everything else is bullshit. If you really break it down, if you want to quit anything that you put in your mouth, you don't fucking put it in your mouth. And for so many people, it's just like the urge, and it's us, talking about, oh, it's just this one time. Oh, it's just, oh, you did good here. It's everything. And it's not even us, bro. Like, you're learning that your thoughts is not really you. You're not your thoughts. But it's paying attention to that fucking inner voice, dude. But once you really break it down, if you want to stop smoking, you don't put a fucking cigarette in your mouth, and it's just like the whole pew thing, right?
Sure.
But yeah, dude, it's been fucking wild, man. Okay, so back to your quitting shit. I mean, has your heart regulated? Is it still spiking up at all times?
Not as much. Definitely doesn't go from 70 to 95. That's why I want to go see a cardiologist, is I want to make sure everything is okay, of course. And I want to ask him questions. I want to ask him, okay, is that, how abnormal is that from my heart rate to go from 70 to 95? Or how about 70 to 110 if I'm using smokeless tobacco because it's a nicotine and it's raising my heart rate? How much does that affect my health or my heart? And the other thing too is Chris, I want to ask him, and he may have to refer me to like a sports medicine special like biohacking place, because there's plenty in Austin. I just don't know where to go. But what I'm getting at is I want to find out, okay, if I'm doing squats and my heart rate goes up to 150, which it does, is that good or bad? If I'm jogging in the morning, when I jog in the morning and I'm jogging and my heart rate is at 130 to 140 range, is that helping or hindering? Like, everybody's different. So we all make the assumption that working out hard and going this way and the heart rate is this and that is great for our heart health and our overall health. But if everybody's baseline varies, then I want to know what the ideal heart rate should be for a man of my age and my size training like I do is. Because dude, supposedly my max heart rate is, all of our max heart rate is 210 minus our age, right? So 220 minus your age. So if I'm 50, 220 minus 50 is 170. Bro, I could do squats and get my heart rate up to 165. And what am I? I'm 5 beats away from dying. Yeah. And I took a VO2 max test when we still lived in California, which would be about 3+ years ago.
Yeah.
And when I did that, I was out of shape, dude. I wasn't running. I wasn't doing cardio. I was out of shape. And my VO2 max, my heart rate at that time was 200.
Oh my God.
And that was when I was out of shape. So if 220 minus your age is your max heart rate, that's the guideline to follow. That doesn't apply to me. I know that. No. So I want to know what the proper heart rate is that I should be training at, and what's the best, and so on and so forth. So, I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, well, dude, I think the biggest clue would be like, okay, your heart rate's at 160. How do you feel? Are you lightheaded? Are you going to pass out? You know what I mean? A lot of it has to be just listening to what your body is telling you. But yeah, dude, that's fucking wild, bro. So how long have you stopped? You stopped for like what? It's been like a month probably already, right?
Well, yeah. Oh, at least, yeah. Well, I went to the hospital. I was in the hospital on Halloween. That was October 31st. So as soon as I got out, I was like, okay, well, and I noticed my heart rate when I went back to my routine and dipping in it because I was wearing my watch, and I noticed my heart rate.
Yeah.
Dude, it took like a week for my heart rate even to level off just from the ODing with the paint with the fat burners. It took a
Yeah.
week after the hospital.